Hello, it is Tuesday, January 8th, 2019, and we have a good one for you. The boys and I dig into plenty of conversations about the Golden Globes and the wild card weekend. Some must-hear takes with Matt Hasselbeck and Shawne Merriman as well. And by the way, we have a new presenting sponsor.
What?
That's how you heard me.
Who is it?
Great question there. It seemed as if you really wanted to know the answer.
Yeah.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. I'm very interested.
Because Ty's like, I work here. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know what sponsor is jumping up to the front of the show.
Right.
Evan Foxy's like, I moved from Michigan to come down here to Indianapolis.
Yep.
I would like to know what company just paid the most to get up in the front to be the presenting sponsor.
Pay my salary.
Yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah. You know who it is?
Nah.
It's our sponsor since day one. Our first sponsor of all time, a company that sells tickets at a rate that's better than everybody else. They're a company that took a complicated and confusing way of doing things and made it simple. It's a company that was our first sponsor, and now they're our biggest sponsor and advertiser, and that's the greatest ticket buying app on earth, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the greatest ticket buying app on earth, and there's no question about it, Jack. You want to go to a comedy show? SeatGeek. You want to go down there theater? SeatGeek. You want to go to an NFL playoff game that we'll talk about later today? SeatGeek. Hockey, SeatGeek. College basketball, SeatGeek. You name it, SeatGeek has the best tickets at the best price for the most incredible human beings, and that's you that listen to this show. Use promo code PAT. Right now, you get $10 off your first order. Use promo code McAfee. You get $20 off your first order on SeatGeek. You're alive, but are you living? Go live and experience something live with the beautiful human beings at SeatGeek. Shout out SeatGeek, by the way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Still doing the $20?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Love that.
Well, they're a great company, and they're so worried about saving people's money that they forget to turn off promo codes like McAfee for $20 off your first order.
Too nice.
Get it while it's hot. Get it while it's hot. Shout out to SeatGeek. We appreciate the hell out of you. They're the only people. They're one of the main reasons why we get to do what we do on a regular basis.
Yep.
All you listening, I am so thankful for you, and I want you to be your best you at all hours of the day. Right now, you're listening to this show. It's probably going to be a couple hours long. You're going to learn a lot about the foosball. And maybe tonight, you're going to lay it down, okay? Mm-hmm. You're going to be in a bedroom. And you're going to be with somebody you care about. And they're like, hey, take me to Pleasure Town, Daddy. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to do that. But you're not just going to play in the amateurs anymore. You're going to go up and be a goddamn all-pro in the sack. And let's face it. Guys are terrible at taking care of their health. Studies show 70% of guys who experience erectile dysfunction don't get treated for it. That's bad. Because the thing most people don't realize is that ED is like a check engine light for a man's body. It could be an indicator that there's something more serious going on, like a heart issue or diabetes.
Jesus.
Thankfully, Roman has created an easy, discreet way to get checked out by a doctor and get treated for ED online. Tonight, when you go into the bedroom, be the greatest bedroom man you could ever be and take care of that ED that 70% of guys experience. Go in there with a baseball bat. Roman is a one-stop shop where licensed U.S. physicians can diagnose your ED, then ship meds right from their pharmacy to your door. With Roman, you don't have to wait in waiting rooms. You don't have to deal with any awkward face-to-face conversations or make any uncomfortable trips to the pharmacy. You just have to visit getroman.com/USA, fill out a brief questionnaire, chat with a doctor, and get a real FDA-approved medication if recommended by your doctor. It's all prescribed online and delivered straight to your door in discreet, unmarked packaging. Nobody's going to know that you're taking PEDs in the bedroom. No one's going to know that you're showing up with a much better bat than anybody else that stepped into that batter's box. It's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
Coming from a pro baseball player.
I am.
Yep.
Professional baseball player. Still buy the documentary now at BetMaxShow.com. Go talk to the doctor. Erectile dysfunction is a problem that guys don't tackle, but it's really important. And now, with Roman, it's really easy to take care of it. For a free online visit, go to getroman.com/USA. Step your game up, boys. Welcome to the big leagues. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a man who was a quarterback for a long time in the NFL. Long time. Back whenever starter was the official sponsor of the NFL, then Reebok, then Nike, a man that was brought in to make people around him better. He did that in Tennessee. He did that with the Colts, and now he's doing it at ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, legendary bald man, Matthew Hasselbeck.
Yeah. What's up, Pat? Hey, by the way, Puma was my jersey with the Seahawks my first year. Wow. It was a Puma jersey.
I'm happy I was close. Starter was just like a mock to it. It was like me saying like a MySpace, like you're throwing back. Puma's the same type of thing. Good for you. You've been around a long time in this game.
Yeah, that was the thing. The Seahawks were actually in the AFC West at the time. Wow. They came into the AFC West.
Okay, so you've seen the NFL get realigned, reshifted, and remotivated almost. Now you're at ESPN. And to be honest, I think the most crazy thing about you is you sent me 2 PR people's numbers to get you on the show. Excuse me?
I was just trying to compete, man. You know, you got your own entourage. You got, like, the guy who opens the door for you. You got the guy who lies and says you're in the bathroom. I was just trying to compete, man.
How is life at ESPN, man?
By the way, I think can we tell people what happened? Like, basically, I called to talk to you. Your guy answers the phone. He goes, "Oh, hold on, he's in the bathroom." As I have on my computer screen, Pat McAfee live doing weigh-in. And I'm watching it as your guy's lying to me. So that's a little background.
You want to know why he might have lied to you? Because let me give a little background on my side. So yesterday I texted my friend Matt Hasselbeck. You guys ever heard of him?
Hey, good guy.
Oh, yeah.
Real good quarterback.
I was teammates with him. We showered together. He came to my my debut of my stand-up. I mean, really good friends. First guest on my show whenever I was doing a local newspaper show here in Indianapolis. Good friend of mine. I think we sat next to each other a couple times, maybe on some trips. Got along well. Text on a very regular occasion. Good friend of mine. So obviously, Wild Card Weekend, I sent a little texty text.
Yeah, big weekend.
Hey, bub. You had a great weekend on television. Your brain was good. Anyway, you could be a guest on my show on the podcast on Tuesday. He goes, per contract, I can't say yes. Here's 2 people that you can get on board with. That's what you did, right, Matt?
I think you're embellishing just a little bit. You're not really embellishing. You're leaving out something, okay? What happened was I made a pro punter/kicker tweet, and I feel like it popped in your mind late on Sunday night. You're like, I like that tweet. I'm going to add this guy to my already stacked guest list. That's kind of how I felt about it.
Oh, my God. Let me read what I had to do with this, the PR person from ESPN. Hi, Allie. Her name's Allie. My name's Pat McAfee. Mr. Hasselbeck, I said. This is somebody from ESPN trying to get my friend, by the way, on the show.
Yeah.
Good guy.
I apologize for your interruption on this beautiful Sunday. I was wondering if Matthew could come on my podcast this week. Would love to chat with him about luck in the NFL playoffs. He and I were teammates together. Would only want him to look good in this conversation, right? I would only want you to look good because he's an incredible human. Let me know if this is possible, and thank you for your time. She responds with, thanks for your text. When? So I tell her Monday afternoon, show comes out on Tuesday. Oh, she says. I've got several requests for Matt right now. So if there are any other date options, will you let me know?
Wow.
I go, no other date options. Oh, we'll try to fit you in there. We'll try to fit you in Matt's schedule.
Yo, we'll try.
We'll try to fit you in that schedule there. We'll try to. Matthew Hasselbeck's schedule is
Pat,
so packed. We'll try to fit you in there.
This is just like when, like, a girl asks you out on a date, you know, or you ask a girl out on a date, you know, like, hey, how about Friday? Like, I don't know, I'm kind of busy. Maybe Saturday. Building up the anticipation, man. It's a little hard to get. It's all right. Still love.
No,
all good.
I can spin this in 2 different directions, all on how I tell that story there. The way I chose to do it was to make you look like a terrible friend. But the way I could have done it is you have become a very big deal in football media, man. Everybody's seeking your opinion on things. You got a lot of requests in the media things. On ESPN, you do very well. The show is good. How are you enjoying becoming a voice of the NFL?
You know what? It is fun. I was nervous that, you know, leaving 18 years in the NFL, it'd be like, hey, I'd miss the team, miss the camaraderie, miss the locker room. But I feel like I have that on the shows that I'm on. You know, Sunday morning, it's Randy Moss, Charles Woodson, Rex Ryan, Sam Ponder, Adam Schefter. Monday Night Football, we add Steve Young, Susie Colbert. And, you know, so I get that team flavor, I guess. And then obviously the people behind the scenes, we've got people that help us with stats, people that help us with producing and directing. So it's very much a team thing, and I get to go on the road. Like this past week, I was at the Colts Texans game, got to see a lot of old teammates, coaches. So I feel like I'm still in the game, which I like a lot.
Well, and there's no chance of you getting blown up, like getting crushed, too. That's got to feel pretty good on the body. Now you're just doing little mental workouts.
Yeah, no doubt. You go down to Houston and you're saying hello to J.J. Watt and Clowney and Merciless. It's a whole different deal. Last time I saw those guys, I took a helmet to the chin and was drinking Jamba Juice for 2 weeks. So, much better now.
Speaking of being at the Texans-Colts game, this Colts team is hot. And I think even everybody always says, like the Giants, the year that Coughlin was almost fired and then they went on to win the Super Bowl with the Patriots. It doesn't matter what team is hot all the season. It matters who's hot in the playoffs. This Colts team feels like a very hot team. You had a one-on-one with Luck. You got to be in the facility. What's going on with that Colts team? You feel good about us?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, even this weekend, the Colts were better than just about every team that played this weekend statistically. More first downs, more rushing first downs, more total yards, more rushing yards, which is like 200. Didn't give up a sack. Had only 2 penalties, basically 10 yards of penalties for the entire game. Defense had a shutout for 3 quarters, really gave up 7 points the whole day. So I think it's a complete team. We talk a lot about Andrew Luck coming back, but there's other guys on that team and coaches, first-time coaches at coordinator positions that are doing a heck of a job. And then, oh, by the way, Andrew Luck is back. So I think, quite honestly, the Colts are probably the most complete team that you don't know about, and really could surprise people even this weekend against a really hot, explosive Kansas City Chiefs team.
So you kind of rode the fence there at the end. You went on quite a run, and then you said, but also hot.
Well,
and explosive.
here's the reason why. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have the MVP at quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is doing things that other people aren't doing. Even Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Jared Goff, great years, but they're not in the category that Patrick Mahomes is in offensively. Really, those are just the facts. I think the reason why you'll see some people in the national media pick the Colts is because they believe in Andrew Luck. They've probably studied some numbers like I just sort of regurgitated to you. And the other thing is Kansas City, they've got home field advantage and a loud crowd, all that stuff. But for whatever reason, they've had a hard time winning home playoff games. You got to go all the way back to before Patrick Mahomes was born to find a day where the Kansas City Chiefs won a home playoff game. The last time they did it, Joe Montana was their quarterback. So I think there's pressure. I remember as a quarterback when I was playing for Seattle, I think the Seahawks hadn't won a playoff game since 1984, and we were trying to do it in like 2005. And you just felt the pressure from all those, the former players, the legends of your team, your organization. Like, you feel the pressure of that. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes feels it because he seems like a cool cat, but I know that there's other people in that organization that certainly feel it. And so I think that's a great matchup. That'll be the first playoff game of the weekend. I think it's going to be a great one.
Did you see the Pat Mahomes no-look video with Peter King thing?
I did. I didn't listen to it, but I watched it. It was cool. I mean, I love watching Patrick Mahomes play. I love watching him throw. I'm a huge fan of no-look passes. They usually work. They don't always work, but they usually work.
See, that's my thing. Like, Michael Dixon's getting a lot of credit for drop kicking, right? Australian guy. There's a lot of NFL guys, myself included, that can really drop kick well. Have never done it publicly, right? So it's just like the no-look pass thing, I think, for quarterbacks. Is that like a normal thing, or is Patrick Mahomes doing something that's very silly?
No, so listen, I have a no-look pass in my repertoire, but I can't do it left. Wow. I can do it right. I mean, most guys will have it in the repertoire. Breaking it out in a game is a whole other thing, next level. Yep. Brett Favre has them. You have these throws, kind of like a trick shot you have with your sand wedge. You have one. Does it come up? Do you get the opportunity to use it? Do you have the courage to use it? He used it and hit a guy in stride. It was awesome. I've got a no-look pass where I can look at you, and then, if I'm looking at 12 o'clock, the ball comes out at like 2 or 3 o'clock. It's a pretty, I like that throw. The problem is it doesn't always work. I have another one that's not as good that I tried to use on Brian Urlacher one time. I no-looked him, but he wasn't looking at me. So I hit him between the 5 and the 4. And after the game, he comes up to me. He's like, dude, what were you thinking on that interception? I'm like, dude, I no-looked you. He's like, wow, I missed it.
Yeah, I was no-looking you, too.
So you got to be careful. Doesn't always pan out.
Great analogy there, because I have the Phil Mickelson flop. Everybody who's ever golfed with me knows it. I bust that thing out, and it's a next level thing.
Right, but that's a good point. Like, you bust it out, like when it's fun to bust it out. But if you got a birdie opportunity and money's on the line, are you busting it out? Like, maybe you are, but then are you making it happen? Like, did it work? And so I think that's what's impressive to me about the Patrick Mahomes no look. It wasn't like, hey, we're up by 21, this doesn't matter. It was a big game. Huge moment, and he busted it out, and it worked perfectly.
All right, you have to go soon. It's our fault. We showed up late for this. I mean, we had to go through your publicists, but we showed up late to this because of the weight loss challenge. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Patriots are going to win again? Is that what's going to happen?
You know what? There's a lot. I live in Boston. There's a lot of hate for the Patriots. There's a lot of like, we're only the 2 seed. You know, we barely got a bye.
Wow.
Like, the expectations are so high for that team. But this whole time, I'm saying to myself, like, they could be right back in this thing. You know, it could be the Patriots and the Saints, or the Patriots and the Rams, or who knows? It could be the Patriots and the Eagles again. The Nick Foles magic. I really think the Patriots, they struggled late. They got back on track with games against Buffalo and the Jets. Something happened where they just got away from James White. James White, the running back, is kind of my MVP of the Patriots this season. If Gronk can get healthy and they can not forget about James White, I think the Patriots have every opportunity to be back in the Super Bowl. But they got a tough Chargers team coming to town that's pretty complete themselves, and they have not lost a game away from LA this season. So, that's what's so fun about the playoffs. We get to find out anything can happen.
Is this Phillip Rivers' last run here? That's why they're all balling behind him?
No, I don't think it's his last run, but he's a consistent player. He's a very consistent player. I think Anthony Lynn's done a really nice job in that running game. Ken Wisenhunt's calling the plays offensively. Gus Bradley, who's a former defensive coordinator, former head coach, but former defensive coordinator when I was in Seattle. He's a real sound, defensive coordinator. Like, he's not a riverboat gambler like some of these guys, feast or famine. He's more mathematical. He's more calculated. He's less risky. He's a keep it in front of you guy. And so if you have the offense to go with that, he's a guy that can be really successul, and he's showing that.
Yeah, they had 7 DBs on the field, I guess, against
three safeties at linebacker.
Yeah. Good idea. Keep up with the speed of Lamar Jackson. So now the Lamar Jackson offense is beat. I mean, that's what happens. Defensive coordinators figure it out. Bang, it's over.
Well, you think about it, though, it's a decent point. The quarterbacks that are now out of the playoffs, you got Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Trubisky, Lamar, all great scramblers. You got guys that are still in that had a bye week that are more pocket passers. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Jared Goff. Even you go back to the last 2 Super Bowls, you're talking about Foles and Brady, or Matt Ryan and Brady. Those guys, they probably couldn't beat, I don't know, my friends that I grew up with in a 40-yard dash. But those guys know how to play winning playoff football that gets you to a Super Bowl and wins you a Super Bowl. And so, I think it's great if you can make SportsCenter top 10 and all that with plays outside the pocket, but consistently throwing the ball on time with rhythm from the pocket, accuracy, decision making, timing, those types of things. That's how you win a Super Bowl, and obviously guys like Tom Brady have proved that.
It's crazy to hear that because you were such a mobile quarterback. You would think that you'd be going to bat for them. Thank you so much.
Like I told you, man, 2 for 2 on fire calls as a backup holder.
He sent me that text, by the way. He sent me that, and in your follow-up text to that was starting holders normally don't have a fire happen. You're the man. It's awesome watching you succeed. Good luck with all your other NFL conversation. I can't wait to meet up with you, hopefully down at the Super Bowl.
Hey, Pat, anytime my publicist says I can, I'm happy to come on.
Hang up on him, please. See you, man. He's a good dude, man.
He's a really good dude.
Oh, yeah, mask guy.
I'm being serious when I say his dad, he was like a ball boy for the Patriots when he was a kid. because his dad used to be in the Patriots organization somehow, some way. He was a good guy in our locker room, man. When he came in, he was a good guy in our locker room. He helped out a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, calling us from the sunny Los Angeles on the West Coast. This man was an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, a legend on the field, and a blossoming businessman off the field. Right now, it's his last week. You can get 50% off at lightsout.com. Is that right?
Lights Out Brand.
Lightsoutbrand.com. Friend of the show. Los Angeles Charger. Then he was a Bill for a little bit. Shawne Merriman.
What's up, brother?
Hey, now I have a question. Like your nickname is Lights Out. Do people call you Lights Out that are friends with you, or they call you Shawne, Mr. Merriman? What do people call you?
Mostly everybody call me Lights. It's funny, I haven't heard Shawne in like a very long time. Or when I go back home with my family, most people call me Shawne, but everybody else calls me Lights.
Okay, so you're walking around, people are like, yo, Lights, Lights, Lights. That's an incredible nickname.
People that I've never met before in my life, and they called me Lights. I don't know. They just decided that was going to be it. So
well, everybody's lazy. I mean, Lights Out is 2 syllables. We can get that thing down to 1. That's the way it's been going. Let's talk about playoff football. Let's talk about the Chargers. Phillip Rivers, it seems to be playing his best football yet. He might have looked the fastest I've ever seen him on that first down run. This Chargers team seems to be legit. Nobody has a clue about anything about them. How are they faring? Why are they so good, Shawne?
They're good because they're balanced. Pat, if you look at the teams that I played on back in the mid-2000s, and you got LT, LaDainian Tomlinson in the backfield, you got Antonio Gates, Vincent Jackson, you got so many all-stars on the team. We had great players. But with this team, this current team, they're the most balanced team in the NFL. As a former defensive player, I'm going into this game, I'm like, okay, what do they tend to do? You got a wide receiver lining up wide, it's a running back 5 yards off the ball. They have no tendencies. They can toss the ball to 3 or 4 different guys in the offense at any given time. So when you can't game plan for them, they're just tough to beat. That's what's been the key for them all year.
They've been incredible on the road. I've been saying it's because they didn't really have a home field advantage at the beginning of the year because LA was the Rams team. Do you think LA is coming around on the Chargers?
Yeah, it's been that way. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of people that are just not happy with them making a move from San Diego, right? So no matter if they were on the fence or not, you got people that are saying, you know what, no matter what, I'm not going to support them. Then you got people that's on the fence, like in the gray area. They're saying, it's not that bad, but I don't know if I want to go up to L.A. I don't want if I still want to still support it. But you start to win some games, and now you got people at the games. Like I went out to, I've been at all the games, but that Ravens game that they had was phenomenal. That was the most pumped I've seen the stadium the entire year, actually since they moved to StubHub. And it's starting to make that conversion, man, where people like, you know what, this is my team, they're playing well, I'm going to go support them. So that's where they're at with it right now.
Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, not great history. Is there any way that Phil can beat the New England Patriots and Tom Brady?
Yes, absolutely. And this is the year for him to do it. And I don't want anybody to confuse the fact that I'm being a homer. I mean, I've been saying that the Chargers were going to be this team since the preseason. There's just the players, you look around the field and what they have, it's hard for them not to be playing the way they're playing right now, especially after having winning 9 games last year in a row. So I expected this. So it's not taking away anything from Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the greatness they've created over there with that team. On the other hand, they are not the same team that they once were. They're just not. They've found ways to win football games because of the greatness of coaching. They found ways to put players there. Josh Gordon played well earlier from the year. Now he's suspended. He's not playing. So now you're looking at what does this team have that you really got to go out and be fearful of. You got a great coach. You got a great quarterback. You got some players that can make some plays, not the dominance that they were in the past. So it's going to be a hard-fought game because Tom Brady's going to go out and do his thing, but they're not as dominant as they once were.
So Shawne Merriman, big-time name in the NFL's history. Lights out. They call him Lights.
Lights.
Legend in the NFL realm. Says that this weekend, whenever the Chargers travel to New England, that the Patriots dynasty is dead. That's what you're saying, Shawne?
Absolutely.
Dead.
Yeah, but it's not. You know, this is what you get. You got a bunch of Patriots fans say, you know what, this guy's a homer. No, I'm not being a homer. It's just if you look at how they're stacked across the board, right? I mean, the Ravens they got the best defense in the National Football League. You knew that game was going to be tight. They're good across the board. It was a great matchup defensively. And once the Chargers figure out a way to punch the ball in the end zone after those three or four field goals, then I knew the game was possibly over then. You know, New England can put up points, and they're great at home. They're great at Foxborough. And I've lost the AFC Championship game. They're in Foxborough. It is tough as hell to play there. You know, the atmosphere is going to be aggressive. It's just hard place to go out and play. They got great fans. It's just get loud and rowdy there. And it's a terrible place to play.
But go say it.
But this year, they don't have the same team. That was,
he said
that's all I'm trying to say. They don't have the same team as they had in the past.
Hey, Shawne Merriman just said what a lot of people have been saying this year, but Shawne Merriman's voice carries some weight because he's an ex-player. He's lost in the AFC Championship there. I have also been a part of a team that has lost in Foxborough. I got pounded. Oh, no, easy. I was a part of a team that got pounded by Tom Brady often there for a while. The dynasty is one of the most impressive things in the history of the sport. True story. But, boy, this Chargers team looks tough to beat. Let's move across the board there a little bit. Chiefs, Colts, what else are you looking for? Rams, you like the Rams? Do you think they're going to continue to go? Is there a natural beef because you're both trying to claim the city? Do the Rams hate the Chargers and vice versa? And also, I think there's a scenario where both AFC and NFC championships games could be hosted in L.A. How awesome would that be for Los Angeles?
Pat, it's another thing that I said before the season. I said it on the show, right? And the room got silent as a mouse. You can hear a mouse piss on a sponge, how quiet it got in there. Everybody looked at me crazy, right? And I said there could be two L.A. teams playing against each other in the Super Bowl. And people looked at me like I was completely out of my mind. Well, I'm not looking so crazy now. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because it's the Chargers' time for them to turn over the leaves, and it's the Chargers' time because of the team that they built, right? We talked about the balance and who they have on both sides of the ball. I mean, that's the most sacks they've had, against the Ravens in team history in the playoff. Well, since I think 92 or something or whatever it was.
Joe Flacco would have got crushed, by the way. People were calling for Joe Flacco. He would have got murdered in there with that D-line the way they were playing.
If Joe Flacco got in there, he would have been a standing dummy punching bag that would have just got sacked over and over again, and because he can't move. Towards the end of the game, Lamar Jackson made some plays with his leg that they wouldn't even had a shot to come back if Joe Flacco was there. He made some plays with his legs and found a way to throw the ball down the field. Joe Flacco is not capable of doing that. It's just not his game.
Okay, so you like the Chargers, you like the Rams. Let's talk about what you're doing off the field. Lights Out brand. You're a businessman? Are you sitting in boardrooms and shit? What do you got going on?
Yeah, man. We got lightsoutbrand.com. We also will be in Phillies, just most parts of the country next week. So you can go to Tilly's and ask for Lights Out brand as well. So we'll be in there cranking.
Hey, hold on. You got picked up by a store?
Yeah, we're in Tilly's, man. I mean, that's our main partner right now. They got 230 stores. We're cranking in there.
I've seen Tilly's, It's like PacSun's replacement, right? Everybody started going to Tilly's instead.
All the malls.
Hey, when you go into Shark Tank there and you say, hey, yeah, I just got into 30 Tilly's, I think people, that's a great business move by you.
Yeah, it's cool, man, because I had a nickname since I was 16, right? I mean, people call me Lights Out since I was 16, and I've, found a way to really brand it and make activewear and cool clothes. Like, that was a part of what I always wanted to do, just to work out like hell, because I'm still a musclehead, I'm still a meathead, but I also make, clothes just feel comfortable with it. People can wear it, man. That's just, it's always been my thing.
Congratulations on that. 50% off right now this entire week with the promo code playoffs, I believe, lightsoutbrand.com. You also were almost getting into bare knuckle fighting. I think maybe that was just all hype. I don't know. You signed a contract and then it disappeared. Where are you when it comes to professional fighing? And why? Why?
That can still happen, man. But, look out for the big news in the last couple of months. And I've been talking about it for a year. There will be I will own part of the MMA league coming up here in the next few months that I will announce. I've been working on it for a little over a year, and there's a big possibility that I can fight in there also. So we're trying to work that out. This way, I don't have to worry about nobody screwing around my contract because I'll be doing my own contract. And if I want to go fight, then I'll fight.
That's Vince McMahon, very Vince McMahon-like of you. Why do you want to fight, man? You're in, like, what? You played in the NFL for a long time. You hit a lot of people. You're in Tilly's now. You're a businessman. Why do you want to fight? Why do you want a human cockfight out there?
Pat, you know more than anybody, right? We're competitive as hell, right? I mean, we got to stay with it. I mean, you've been wrestling and doing different stuff too, and which
Sure.
I kind of messed around with the WWE and almost signed a contract there a few years ago. I just like staying active. I go, for me, I go and spar a couple days a week anyway, right? I'm going to the gym a couple hours a day anyway. It's a lifestyle that you live, so you just have to kind of stay in tune with it.
True, I do that all the time, man. It's my fucking lifestyle. Too. I spar about 3-4 times a week. Me and Todd get the gloves out, start hammering. Will you be good? Like when you fight, will you be good, or are you going to get your ass kicked? Are you going to? If you're the boss, you can feed yourself somebody easy. Get you a small little white guy in there.
Look, man, I wouldn't show my face if I got my ass beat. I mean, for me, I don't. That's just not who I am, right? I mean, the guys who I spar with and I train with are they killers, right? I mean, these guys are beasts and a lot better than me. So, I gotta go in there and take my lumps and bruises as I'm, picking up and just learning the craft. First and foremost, I've been doing it for almost 13 years just to stay in shape during the off season. But when I was going to go fight, it was the first time I actually been in a real life training, a fight camp for 3 months. And, so Manny Pacquiao's coach, Justin Fortune, was who I was training with, and also Unbreakable Gym out here in L.A., back and forth. So I had, for me, I was sparring some real killers, so I took my lumps and bruises early.
Jesus. So you're in Team Pacquiao's camp? How'd that happen?
Yeah, so, I mean, Justin Fortune, who's this coach, I mean, he's still getting trained by Freddie Roach, but Justin Fortune, who's here in L.A., when I was going to do the bare-knuckle boxing, and mind you, the bare-knuckle boxing was just stand-up. There was no takes to the ground, no knees, no elbows. So that was going to go down. 9 days before it happened, they decided to they wanted to renegotiate my contract by 50%, and I told them to go to hell.
Hey, yeah, we don't fuck. We ain't getting no cage or ring with no gloves for 50%. Get the hell out of here.
No, it just wasn't what happened. It was a crappy way to come into the sport because I've been around the game for a long time. But I will be announcing a MMA league that I plan on taking over. Been working on for the last year and a half. So. That's going to be big.
Good for you. Good for you, Shawne. All right, before you get out of here, I have some co-hosts here. You heard them at the beginning. They were so intrigued and interested by Shawne Merriman calling in. They all have a question for you. Is it okay if we go around the room? Because the room would like to know.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, up first is a former state police detective for 21 years, Todd McComas.
Shawne, hey, I'm a big MMA fan, so I want to know who's the most well-known fighter that you've trained with, that you've sparred with?
Probably Tito. Tito
nice.
Ortiz, we got in there. But when I first started, I was Jay Glaze's first NFL guy that kind of transitioned over to MMA back in like 2005. So I was training with Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell. I've trained with Tito Ortiz, Ty Woodley. We spent a few all seasons together. So. I've been around these guys, man, for a long time.
Nice. So you describe yourself as a well-rounded guy? All those guys are very well-rounded. They have good takedown defense, but they bang on their feet.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm used to tackling people, so if I get myself in trouble, I can get your ass on the ground.
Nice.
That's
I like to hear.
Do the big Brock Lesnar bear tackle, just hold them down and beat up their face. That's an incredible thing. This next guy is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's got a good beard. He's down 13 pounds in the last 6 days. Diggs.
Shawne, is Phillip Rivers allergic to latex, or he's just an irresponsible human?
Great question. A lot of kids, Shawne.
Dude, honestly, I think he's going for his own football team. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, he just needs a couple more. So he might even have 1 or 2 coming off the bench by the time he's done. I don't know. So I don't know, man. It's incredible. But when you're playing football that long and you made the money he has, you can have as big as you want to, I guess.
He doesn't swear either. No cusses, they say. No cuss words. He'll say what? Gracious Pete?
Gracious to Pete, yeah.
That's the goddamn is gracious to Pete.
Wow.
That's an interesting go.
I don't respect that.
He talks shit though too. I like Phil Rivers a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing about Phillip. How much shit can you really talk when you don't curse?
I know.
Right? Like, he's what about Philip? Philip is animated, right? Philip is animated, and you're just not used to seeing quarterbacks talk back to you, right? If you're on this team, you love it. Like when he went to NC State and I was playing him against, and when I was at University of Maryland, we played against each other. I didn't like Philip a whole lot because I was like, I would hit him, and you would see him jawing back or saying something back to the guy that was laying on top of him. And I'm like, this guy's out of control. It's insane. But it's not like he's saying anything bad or negative. Mm-hmm. He's not saying, F you, you suck. He'll be tapping you in the head and tell you a good hit. And you're just not used to a quarterback saying that.
The Andrew Luck move. Mm-hmm. Not a bad play. Next question is coming from an Italian guy named Nick. Nick, what do you got?
Shawne, you spent a lot of time in San Diego, one of the most beautiful, perfect places, the climate, the temperature, amazing, incredible. And at the end of your career, you spent a little bit of time in Buffalo. Can you please tell us something good about Buffalo?
Hey.
I'm not taking a shot at Buffalo.
Yeah, that was
I'm putting Shawne on a platform here to enlighten us all and help out the city of Buffalo.
Jesus.
Give us a glowing endorsement.
The people and food is amazing, top notch. The thing is with Buffalo is you feel like everybody's a second or third cousin, right? Like they just walk on the street and they're just like, hey, what's up? No, they knew you for 10, 15 years. And it's different from being on the West Coast because everybody whips out their phone and they want to catch you on TMZ. They want to catch you doing something you're not supposed to be doing. In Buffalo, they'll walk up to you like they've known you for 15 years because that's just kind of what city it is. And I got a few places like Duff's and Anchor Barn and really good steakhouses that I used to love going to in Buffalo. So the people and food are great.
Ever heard of it, Nick?
I've heard of it.
Unbelievable. Shout out
Can't wait
Buffalo.
to check it out next time I go.
Shout out Buffalo, by the way. You ever been caught on TMZ saying something terrible or stupid?
No, not really, man. I'm always, I'm not a rookie at it, so I'm never saying anything too crazy. Actually, sometimes just regular stuff that come out of my mouth is crazy, but maybe if you catch a guy walking out of the club after a few drinks, you're more willing to say something that you wouldn't have if you didn't have those few drinks. But most of the time, no, man, I'm pretty cool about it. Jeff
Gorman worked in the NFL for a decade. Now he's five-tool player dummy here. Jeffrey, you got a question?
I do. Road rage. Do you still? Is it something that you deal with in your post-football life? And if you do have road rage, have you ever just rolled down the window, somebody gets a glimpse of you and goes, "Oh shit"?
Great question.
No. I had a few instances, like when I was younger, right? And a couple of people cut me off. I had a guy to kind of walk up to the car and tap on the glass.
Here we go.
And try to open my door.
Here we go.
Well, I opened it for him, and I stood out, and he got back in his car and drove off.
Why is there not an internet video of that? That video would have crushed. Guy goes to fight Shawne Merriman, sees Shawne Merriman, runs from Shawne Merriman. That would have been awesome. TMZ would have loved that one. Next guy's name is Zito, Jose Perez, actually.
Mr. Out, you kind of talked about your story, how you became Lights Out. For that whole time, so you knocked out 3 people in the first half, and the last half you knocked out 1 person?
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Who was the first person to call you Lights Out after that game?
What's that?
Who was the first person to call you Lights Out? How did it become?
So it's about 20 students that come run up to me after the game, and they couldn't believe it. And they said, "Oh man, you knocked those guys' lights out." And then I kind of just played it off like everything was cool, like it was supposed to happen. I said, "Well, just call me Lights Out," and it stuck with me since my sophomore year. Like I wasn't planning on it.
Great nickname.
They just came up to me and said, "Man, you knocked those guys' lights out." And I said, "Yeah, well, call me Lights Out," and it stuck with me all the way through.
Wow.
Pros, even now.
Anybody ever go with LO there?
What's that?
LO? Like, hey, Lo.
Yeah, I get called LO. Yep, LO sometime too, yeah.
Yeah. I'd assume that's where I'd probably head. Mr. Out also.
That's a good one.
This guy's from Boston. He hates everything you said about the Patriots earlier. Connor's his name.
Yeah, Lights. Used to be a huge fan. Now I'm not. So you played with Philip Rivers many children ago. When he first came into the league, was he sort of like a father figure leader right away, or did it take him some time to kind of settle into that head QB position?
Well, Tom Brady is old, so he's the most father figure I've ever had. But Philip is just one of the guys. He's a natural born leader, right? He's a competitor. This guy, it's never a negative thing about him. Like he finds a positive on every single thing. He's always competitive. So that was the first thing I noticed about him, like from day
Seems
one.
like he wanted to kill a kicker a couple times.
He's animated.
Yeah.
He's animated. He wears his heart on his face. Hey, you guys found one, the Money Badger, by the way. You guys got to love him in Chargers Nation.
Oh man, I'm going to send him some free lights out gear. He's about to get all free gear from me forever. That guy, he's just clutch, man. His his body language is different. You just feel a lot better with him going up to make a big kick and make things happen. The whole, like I said, the situation is different with the team. They didn't have that in the past.
Money Badger is knocking balls through too. He does have that swag. One to the U, that helps. This next guy's from Iowa, Ty Schmidt.
Hey, Lights, just curious, of all the teams left in the playoffs, are there a couple guys that you prefer watching, or are there any guys that kind of remind you of you when you used to play?
It's different now, man. If anybody, I would say Khalil Mack, because he still has this athleticism plus the brute side of him that can go through you, too. He can run around you or go through you. He can also drop in coverage or drop back if he needs to. So probably him, where he's just so damn dominant that he can take over a game. The rest of the guys are either really good pass rushers or they can play the run really good, but it's not a combination as much anymore.
This last guy's a 12-year-old, Evan Foxy.
Yeah, Sean, you had one of the best sack celebrations of all time.
All time.
So I'm just curious, are there any celebrations in any sport that you like out there right now?
No, because everybody copycats a little bit now, man. It's like,
true.
Nobody's really original. You got some guys that just do whatever the latest dance is, right? I mean, whatever the latest dance is, they do. And I just really couldn't see myself doing that and being part of the crowd of everyone else. Think about like Jared Allen when he played, right? Jared Allen had the thing with the rodeo.
Yep.
He threw his hands up.
The hog tie.
You had some guy, Joey Porter, had that kick after he got a sack. He went and go kick. So there was always some kind of original play, and it's not really that original like it used to be.
Is that shots fired across the entire NFL from Lights Out?
They need to pick up their Selly game? Is that what you're saying?
Is that shots fired across the entire NFL from Lights Out?
No, I mean, you could call it what you want. I mean, it's not as original. It's not as original as it once was, man.
All right, have an incredible rest of the playoffs here. Good luck with all your businesses. LightsOutBrand.com, 50% off right now. Good for you, man. You're doing great shit over there. I hope you keep it going, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate y'all, man. Have it easy.
Hey, by the way, when you fight, I would like a heads up. I'd like to be in the front row for that. I would enjoy just seeing the front row there to see how it all goes.
All right, cool, man. I'll make it happen. Let's do it.
Well, he owns the fighting company. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lights Out, Shawne Merriman. That was awesome. The wild card weekend was a lot of wild some card. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. We talked off air a little bit. I enjoyed the setup where it's like Friday night I had Dateline. Hey, just punch that microphone, will you, Gorms?
Sorry.
You were saying?
Friday, by the way, joining me at Todd McComas, at Diggs, at Nick Moraldo, at Hey Gorman, at Viva Lazito, at Boston Connor, try to spell it, at Evan Foxy, at Ty Schmidt. And Friday night I watched the Dateline. Okay, it's my normal go-to on the weekend. Friday nights, they're in a new season too, so they got new episodes. New mysteries.
Do you DVR it just in case you miss it?
Oh, yeah. You got to DVR it. Also, like to watch it later after it starts so I can skip the commercials. Get right to it.
Smart. TiVo move.
So I Netflix Dateline by starting it an hour later so I can just binge right through it. You know what I mean? I Netflix that thing.
Yeah, 45 minutes, not an hour.
Great episode Friday night. Kicked off a great weekend. Great episode. Love scandal, triangle, lies, murder, Dateline class.
Any sex?
There was a lot of sex.
Yeah,
a wife was actually cooking meals for her husband and his mistress.
Nice. Like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice deal that guy had.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah. That guy went on to murder somebody.
Okay, I thought it was the mistress.
Not great.
Yeah. That guy went on to murder.
Probably the wife's fault.
No, that's why she was cooking. She's like, I know what happens.
Did he murder the mistress or the wife?
No, mistress ex-boyfriend.
Ooh, so he's getting back for the mistress.
Yeah. It was wild, and they all worked at the same place.
What location was this?
It was like an airline hangar thing. They all worked. It was crazy.
Was it Keith Morrison or no? Just regular guy?
It was the other guy, the Sudja something, dark hair guy. Who?
Zembada?
Ashwaba.
I don't think those are real names.
Ashwababa.
Oh, the village of. It wasn't in there.
Classic reminder: don't shit where you eat. Pussy.
Yes.
Dateline really scares the shit out of me because the people that are doing the murderings are not people you expect.
Regular people.
But Dateline tries to trick you. You know, they introduce new characters, and I'm just trying to solve it at all times, right? As soon as they introduce somebody out of left field, you're like, oh, wait, why are they even? Why is the second cousin being introduced? It's like this guy had to kill him.
And the prison uniform too. You
Yeah.
got to watch that.
Yeah.
Is he doing this interview from prison or
Because they
is he in
interview
his living room?
They interview them and they sit down and they distort the lights in the background and they put a little makeup on and they put a shirt on them and you never know if they're in jail or not. And then once you start solving it, you're like, oh, that person's in jail. And then you start looking at the back and you're like, yep, there's the brick wall right there. I fucking knew it.
Do they rip it all off at the end? Surprise!
Yeah,
he's
they
in jail.
do. They turn the lights on, and normally it's a handshake or they get walked out. It is. Dateline's a great show. I want it to be known that Sam has definitely turned me on to the Dateline. I love it. But it kicked off a great weekend. I wake up the next day, do a little brunch, a little workout, hang out, and then once the afternoon happens, 4:30-ish, it's like, boom, this is perfect. The rest of the night's covered here.
It really is.
The rest of the night's covered. And
Best time.
that first game, those Indianapolis Colts down there in Houston,
Hey now.
How good did they look?
hey, they look really good.
How bad did Houston look, huh?
Yeah,
They look really bad.
They were shit.
they're bad.
That was a bad, and we've been saying this since the beginning. We had the guy that was on The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Guy that was on The Bachelorette was an intern for us, works at Pro Football Focus. Before the season started, we talked to him, and he said, this is.
Oh boy.
I don't know why I have a 442 alarm.
You got to eat?
That is actually my eating bell.
Hey, that's the
Great
most
alarm.
Zito move of all time.
At least it was an unbelievable alarm song.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh, Jesus
Pro
Christ.
Pro Football Focus guy, Bachelorette guy, Mike. Good guy.
Great guy.
He said going into the season that Houston had legitimately, statistically, the worst offensive line in the history of tracking people's
Yes.
talents.
Ever. Yeah.
And he was not wrong.
He
He
hit
was
the
not.
fucking nail on the head.
After he said that, Deshaun Watson gets sacked like 63 times
Yep.
or something.
Most-
Yeah. He pressured
most
every
since,
single pass.
2006.
So is Bill O'Brien done down there? All he does is
might
win
be.
the AFC
And
South.
I heard that. I've been shitting on the Ravens for high school offense. Apparently, everyone's saying that the Houston Texans offense is even simpler than theirs.
They did a pregame interview with Bill O'Brien and Deshaun Watson, and they were asking, like, Deshaun's like, yeah, I'm more of the kind of the cool under pressure guy, and Bill O'Brien's like, I'm Irish, man, I got a temper. And they show clips of him yelling at Deshaun, like, line him up, Deshaun, line him up. I wonder how it is because they've had success in the AFC South.
Yeah.
For sure they have.
I bet it's a little in between because, I mean, he's brought the pieces to Houston. They have a good quarterback, good wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. What do you have? 115 catches, no drops. It's just the offensive line.
Yeah, but dude, the next 5, 10 years,
Secondary's trash too.
well, the next 5
Yeah,
to
you sign those guys.
The next 5 to 10 years, though, you're running into the Colts, which it seems to be
Yep.
are building a team that are unstoppable right now. They are hot. You never talk about whether or not a team, like the first week of the season, obviously, some teams surprise people. A lot of people do. The Chiefs came out flying, and they've continued to do well. The Colts stumbled heavily early, and everybody wrote them off, right? It was easy to do so.
Oh, yeah, I did.
1-5, there's only one team in the history of the game that's ever made it to the playoffs at that record. Then somehow, some way, that team gets so hot, and they are now the hot. Anybody can say whatever they want, I guess, because the Rams haven't played or the Chiefs haven't played. They are by far the hottest team in professional sports right now. By far the hottest team.
And they control both sides of the line of scrimmage. That's why they're so good too.
It's awesome to watch that happen. I mean, you're watching, and T.Y. Hilton, by the way, showing up in a clown mask, bro.
Badass.
That was awesome. I've said this before. T.Y., when he gets like pissed off at somebody, we had a practice squad DB that like said something to him. And it was the first time I watched it because T.Y. was a very quiet guy in the corner. He was under Reggie Wayne. He wasn't chip on his shoulder, little guy, but dog on the field. Then he's play some dice game, loosen up a little bit, but normally just very quiet. Goes to work every day, works his ass off just because like that's what Reggie did, Marv did. That's just like kind of how it works, right? And then all of a sudden, this one DB said something to him in practice. Just said, I forget what it was. And I watched T.Y. Hilton for the next probably 45 minutes of practice. Just scorch this dude. Just absolutely. This guy, he might have quit football. The kid might have quit football. Just scorch him, all because the guy talked shit to him, right? Like T.Y., it just where there's people who have like a chip on the shoulder, they're just looking for something. They're just looking for something to get them going. And when that Joseph dude, old guy, calls him a clown or whatever, and then T.Y. answered with the clown mask, I knew he was going to do whatever the fuck he wanted. I was like, this Joseph guy has no clue what what he just fucking did. I don't think he knows that. And then early, he gets the rock, dominate, and then they start blowing him out, and they don't feed him as much. But he could have had 400 yards. If that was a close game, I think T.Y. Hilton goes for 400 yards.
They started blowing him out, too, because they went all on Hilton. Because right away, Hilton was a factor, so then that's why Inman did so well on the other side.
Bill O'Brien's like, you fucking joking. Hey, how funny is it now, clown? God damn it. We got 4 guys covering them fucking now. Jesus. I'm Irish, sorry. That was an awesome game for the Colts.
How about Jim Irsay then?
Can we fast forward to the locker room?
Yeah.
Your boy Jim.
He's a rainmaker.
I'd like to address that if I can, because people are
was
hitting me up
fucking
online
weird.
about this.
So Gorman, by the way, tight with Irsay. I mean, for a long time, friends with Irsay. He was with Irsay for a long time. He's the reason why I was introduced to Irsay. The whole thing. Hey, he's a rainmaker, bro.
Well, here's what he's saying. Okay, just put yourself in his position, which we can't. We don't know what it's like to be a billionaire. It's just a whole different mind thought. But that aside.
Okay.
That aside.
I don't know how, but
he has been waiting a while for this team. 1-5, they start pissed off, throwing shit in the suite during the game.
Mad.
Yeah. All right. Then a little streak happens. Then Jacksonville happens. What the flip? 6-0. Then it comes out, boom, 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 win. First playoff game, just happier than a pig in slop. And he says, boys, I'm going to be the one raining on your parade. I think we can be a better football team than what we showed today.
Yeah, is that really how he said it, though?
Well, he didn't say it.
You got to understand, he doesn't say it the way that...
You got the interpreter right here. He's breaking it down for you.
I'm saying, hey, I'm going to rain on the parade a little bit. We can be better than what we showed today. Dominant performance, but I want to be that guy that's pushing you through these playoffs to get great. And
By the way,
thinks his team can
I'm
get
not. I don't disagree. Like they should have scored 2 more touchdowns in the second half. I mean, there's no excuse for not scoring in the second half, and that was disappointing to me. I'm like, now they're getting conservative in their play calling. They're just trying to hang on instead of just stepping on the throat.
That was the first sense of that all season, really.
Yes.
Wasn't it? It was
yes,
a little bit.
And
really
it cost us early a little. And I was like, I would finally want to see the Colts get somebody down and step on their fucking throat.
Yeah, it'd be nice for the fans.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that, and also, by the way, probably the punter as well, if I had to guess, we're thinking that too. Because when you're playing on the Colts, cardiac Colts is a real thing. That's been something that is Indianapolis knows. Every game, even if you're down, if the Colts are down a bunch at the beginning, by the end of this, there's going to be a moment where you're like, oh, fuck, what's going to happen?
Right.
I got to live that for like 6 years. It's wild, man. It's just like every game, no matter how much you're ahead, or how far behind, you're like, okay, in the fourth quarter, this is probably going to be this is going to be a grinded out game here. And it happens on a regular basis.
It does.
But it seems that it could happen everywhere else too. I think we've seen a lot of comebacks start happening in the NFL, strictly because the offenses are so fast and high scoring. With that being said, the Ravens had that at a 1-score game by the end of that fucking thing. Yeah. We were watching that game at the office, and it was like somehow this has become a 1-score game out of nowhere. Lamar Jackson drives them down the field there instead of that fumble, drives them down the field and scores. What a completely different conversation is happening today as opposed to then. It's the game. The NFL is good.
Hey, can we talk about them blowing the play dead on a couple of those plays? Like, why are they doing that?
They've been doing that all year.
What? But yeah, is there a reason for it?
It happened in the Browns game, too.
It's fucking things up.
Or are you talking about the Bears one, or are you talking about the...
Yeah, but it also happened in the Ravens game, right?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they called it a touchdown, and then instead of the fumble.
Yeah.
The fumble at the goal
was not a
line,
fumble, though.
his arm
He
was
was down.
down.
Yeah.
And, the guy took it back.
Yeah. They had the Ravens. By the way, we'll talk about that Chicago thing.
Okay.
The overturn, the review.
the catch.
Have to talk about that for sure. But also Parkey.
That's on the Chargers, though, for the comeback. Like,
It is
for sure
100%.
prevent.
100%. But people were saying put Flacco in. That Chargers defense seems to be damn good, man. Lamar Jackson fumbled 4 times and threw an interception.
I'd have still thrown
he's
Flacco
rattled.
in there. I know you guys are going to tee off of me. Oh, they'd have been all over him. Dude, he wakes up to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson wakes up to run the ball.
What?
Gorns, at the same time, though, Joey Bosa or Ingram didn't really have a chance to pin their ears back and just go because it was Lamar. If you put
had a
Flacco
drop back
in,
quarterback. I hear you.
But wouldn't it be a different scheme too? He's probably getting rid of the ball real quick.
I don't know.
I think Harbaugh.
Joe Flacco?
It could have gotten worse.
I mean, he did come back.
What
He
I'm
was
saying,
3 of 10 for 25 yards.
But what I'm saying
was
is it became a 1-score game. Like they were in the game. Somehow the Ravens played terrible. I think they had negative pass yards in the first half, or they were close to having negative pass yards in the first half, or maybe in the whole fucking game, if it wasn't for that deep ball. but they were somehow in that game. And I can't help but just think about, like, if the Ravens win that game and Phillip Rivers loses that game, how awesome Phillip Rivers would have been just to watch, like, what he would have done. He would have fucking freaked out. They were dominating over there, and then they make it a game.
Tucker missed a kick. Cook shanked one. It was beautiful.
what's with Tucker
What a
missing
beautiful
kicks?
thing.
I don't know. It was very interesting to me as well.
He got pancaked too bad.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Well, that's the issue, is everybody's wondering why he's missing kicks. I've never seen a person in the history of the NFL get pancaked as bad as he did and then go and make a kick. never seen anybody do it. And Tucker almost did that.
But we called the Ravens offense was going to get figured out.
They did 7 DBs or whatever. We talked to Shawne Merriman here in a little bit, and Hasselbeck about a good insight there. That Chicago Bears game, man. Cody Parkey, here's the deal. So I have been the topic or target of this type of situation. It was in the first quarter of a game, not at the end of the game. So I was kind of confused why I was getting so much, but I could definitely see being the scapegoat kind of situation, right? 27 death threats. I also missed an overtime kick off the left upright in Colorado. So I almost exact same situation as Cody Parkey. Cody Parkey probably feels this today. Should have made the kick. Should have definitely made the kick. He knows that. That block, though, is a real thing, because all of his misses this year, damn near every single one of them, is literally 4 inches away from being a fucking great year. He's 4 inches away on all these separate occasions of being a great year. And if he makes that kick last night, by the way, he's a hero in Chicago. He's a fucking hero in Chicago. He is. If Doug Peterson doesn't ice him there, great call by Doug Peterson. Great call by Doug Peterson. Doesn't ice him there. He makes that kick. By the way, same pressure on Cody Parkey, that first kick. All the people that are like choke job or whatever are saying him. He made that first kick that had the same amount in his head. In his head, you got to think that's the same amount of pressure. Same amount, everything is there, right? So he's got it. But if you get a deflection on a ball just like that, and it's dancing with that left upright already, you just got to hope at some point that ball moves 4 inches in for you. After an entire year, 6 uprights, they're saying. You think at some point, especially he did the thank God thing up there after the miss, which a lot of people were commending him for, which is cool, by the way. If you're a religious person, you keep your faith in good times and bad, I understand that. But you would think he might have been asking, like, hey, man, one fucking time. What if he said that? Like, just give me 4 inches. And a lot of people were saying, should he have not gotten it up faster or whatever? I mean, that was an incredible push by the D-line. The goal for blocking a field goal is drive. So you're trying to drive the offensive lineman back 3 yards, and then you're trying to get as high as possible because there's a trajectory there, right? They got a good drive on that, and that was a good thing. But still, you would just hope, if you're Cody Parkey, that the football gods just one time would just give you a kiss in. They gave him a kiss out. It's like Happy Gilmore when he goes that putt thing and he puts it in and the clown spits it out. Cody Parkey had to feel, and he did, by the way. He said, I feel terrible. This is the worst. But at some point, it's like, Cody, I feel bad for the guy, because you would just think at some point, like if you're hitting your driver, you would think, like, hey, if I get 10 swings at this, one of them's going to straighten out for me exactly how I want it. Same thing for him. 4 inches away from an incredible season. Maybe potential, like, it's just, he got unlucky. He got incredibly, and I sent him a DM. I sent him a DM.
You hear back?
Cody Parkey, I don't think he checked Twitter. So I thought about that after I sent the DM, by the way. I was like, there's no fucking way.
He took a little Twitter break.
There's no way he's hopping on
45,000 booing him as he's running to the locker room.
I know.
If
kick
it
was
could have been
blocked,
more,
though.
yeah.
I mean, kick was blocked, which definitely changes the trajectory. And if you see the way it hits the guy's hand, it definitely moved to his left, too. So it probably skips in, right? Which, by the way, after you watch film, which Cody Parkey definitely is doing today, is watching film on that. Everybody's watching film on that. He's watching that, and he just sees it, and he's like, how unlucky am I? And that's why I sent him a DM. I was like, hey, man, incredibly unlucky year for you. I don't, because there's no way a kicker, like a ball that is hitting an upright versus a ball that is inside like a inch or so, a kicker can't tell the difference between that, right? I mean, Tucker splits them right down the middle normally when he's kicking. A lot of kickers. Vinatieri gets him in there. But there's a lot of guys that, hey, if that thing gets through, we're happy. And he's just 4 4 fucking inches. I felt so bad. My video was an actual live reaction too. That was real heartbreak for that kid. He was sleeping on my couch a couple years ago. Sleeping on my couch a couple years ago.
It's terrible, but he shouldn't eat all that blame. I understand it's the last thing, but like that is the last resort. He is out there for the last
you do
resort.
have to do but as a kicker punter,
no doubt.
Like, that's your job too. Like the wide receiver's job is to catch a ball in the end zone in the last second if you need it. Running back's job is to punch it in. That's his job to make that kick. He knows that too, by the way.
Oh, sure.
He very much knows that too.
The Further Brand Brotherhood is strong, though. I don't know if you saw.
Jake Elliott, I saw him run over
ran
there.
out. Pretty awesome.
Remember, Parkey used to be a kicker for the Eagles. He was a Pro Bowl kicker for the Eagles, so he probably has a lot of friends over there.
In that situation, though, like how much is at fault for the long snapper and the holder?
Did you see the ball spinning?
That's what I'm saying.
So the laces were dead left.
Yeah.
And then Pat O'Donnell had a great game. He spins that thing all the way around. Now, granted, Cody got good wood on it, had good rotation. The ball was flying well.
Yeah.
But all those things, that's not a perfect. Because remember, that's a game winner in the playoffs for that snapper and holder, too. Everybody forgets about the snapper and the holder and the thing, like, the kicker. But the butthole gets very, very tight on a game-winning field goal when your job is literally to not fuck it up, which is what a holder's job is. Pat O'Donnell, you go out there for a game. My first time going out to hold for a game winner, the feeling was just like, oh, shit. Like, I got to hit a couple in college, like a couple game tires. I got to hit an extra point game winner in college. So as a kicker, I knew how it felt, right?
Yeah.
But going out there for a holder, it's like, if I do my job incredible here, there's a chance we still don't.
But you're not on one knee at that point. At that point, you're thinking, I got to do my job, right? It's running out to the field that you're thinking.
Well, yeah, jogging on the field, you're like, oh, shit, here we are in a game winner in a whole new situation. And then when you get down, it's like, okay, here we go. I can control this kick. In my head, I would think that I could control a kick. But if I get bad laces there, the last thing you want to be a part of is like a full spin. Like, oh my God, I am so sorry. Jesus, Vinatieri. Of course you made it.
Tony Romo in the playoffs.
Exactly. It slipped out of his hands, that whole thing. Yeah. People don't think about the snapper and the holder in there, but there's a lot happening there with a lot of money on the line.
By the way, Foles played great again.
Yeah, what's going on? He threw a couple picks, but
but
he had some fadeaway throws that were just on the money.
He's slinging right now.
Threw that touchdown on 4th and goal when they needed him to. I mean, he just shows up when they need him to.
Are they back?
I
can't say
so.
Fear them for sure.
Doug Peterson's vibing. He's icing kickers like it's a goddamn video game. He's got to feel good about that, by the way. Last night, whenever he was in bed, somebody in his family either texted him or he had a face-to-face conversation where he's like, oh, about that fucking icing. I bet you. I would if I was him.
Yeah,
I would if I was
feel
him.
great about it.
You have to.
I mean, you do it every time you have a timeout, right?
Yeah, but when it works, you got to feel great.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think you pull the trigger.
But that's what I was alluding to earlier with Parkey was obviously that's the last resort. That goal line stand, you got to have that. That defense is the strength of your team. That's what you relied on all year. You got to stop them.
This Eagles team with Nick Foles, I'm so intrigued by this. Carson Wentz, Nick Foles. How do the Eagles? I'd sent out a tweet that these refs end up in the most ridiculous situations. What's the things you can't draw up? People are like, these refs make terrible calls. They do. We'll get to that. But there's also these situations where that tip of the ball on that one reach, that thing might have been within millimeters of crossing the goal line. It's like, how do you expect this to happen? Like, just the most ridiculous shit happens. Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, though.
Yeah.
As the Philadelphia Eagles organization, you never could plan for this type of thing. You could never go to school on how to football coach. You could never be in the NFL for long enough to know how the fuck you figure out a situation where your franchise quarterback gets hurt and your backup quarterback wins the biggest games for you.
It's absurd.
You think more teams are going to do this? They're going to get a quarterback for 16 weeks? And that
You're fresh. Bring him in.
Get him in there.
Bring him in. I don't know how they handle it. Let's say Nick Foles goes on another run here to the NFC Championship game. What do they do?
How's he not your starter?
They've already said that the trade market's going to be strong for him. They're going to trade him.
How old is he?
Really?
I feel like he's into his 30s.
I mean, he did not.
Second.
Hey,
this
by
is
the
his
way,
second stint with the Eagles.
Does not matter.
I mean, he did not play great at the beginning of the season. He's just he balls out in the playoffs.
What do you mean? What are they going to do? They're set.
Yeah.
Don't do a thing. It costs them $10 million a year for Foles to come in, win big games. Carson Wentz is their future. He's hurt. Not a problem.
When's Foles' deal up though? Isn't it up soon?
Yeah.
Yeah, when is Wentz
So
the future?
he's going to
Like he
want
played
money.
this year.
You can't pay him.
You get rid of Carson Wentz if Nick Foles
I'm
wins
not
2
saying
Super
that.
Bowls?
No, I'm saying they're in a perfect position. They're overpaying for their backup, but they're not. You know what I mean?
Why is everybody so stuck on them keeping Carson Wentz?
Yeah, what if he leaves and he fucking takes some other team to the championship?
Foles?
Yeah, I mean, but what if that happens? What?
It's not going.
You just made the worst decision in probably the Philadelphia's history.
Also, Wentz hurts his knee again. I mean, that first one was pretty bad, and we could see the difference between this year and last year after that knee injury.
Jim Irsay cut Peyton Manning due to a lot of things, right? There was a lot of things. There was he had no idea if he was going to be healthy. There's a lot of situations that happened. Peyton Manning went on to break a couple of NFL records and win a Super Bowl and appear in another one, become the MVP again in another uniform. And that uniform is the one that they show on TV every time Peyton Manning's on TV. And Jim Irsay is sitting in a terrible situation there with Andrew Luck sitting there, Peyton's neck injury happening, a lockout happening. There's a lot of things happening at this time.
Do you think Peyton says thank you?
I don't know. I think Peyton would have rather stayed in Indianapolis.
Really?
Yes. Peyton, but it was
58 touchdowns in a year doesn't hurt. Though.
I think a lot of in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he enjoyed his
Worked
time
out.
there.
It
Yeah, but there's no way he would have chosen to do that.
Yeah.
But Pat,
Instead.
when they said to Peyton, "Hey, we're going in the direction of we're taking Luck and we're going in that direction," still didn't know if Peyton could throw the football on that day. That he had to say, "Bro,"
Because the lockout.
he did not. We did not know. He did not know
Yeah.
if he could throw the football
Or
at that
grip a
time.
football
or grip
again.
a football.
They didn't even know if he could grip a
He
football
was
again.
shooting free throws with tennis balls and couldn't hit the rim.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's where the point we are. So you got to make the decision: my future, Luck, or do I?
And also a lot of money. I think it was like $30 million or something he owed him by a certain cutoff time.
And do we put in the rehab for him and taking away reps from Luck? You know, you're looking at all
Irsay
that
was in a terrible
A
position.
year too early or a year too late is basically
What I'm saying though is Irsay was in a terrible position.
Yes.
And his what he did, some would say failure because Peyton still had a bunch in the tank. Some would say success because Andrew Luck's just coming in now. Peyton's not in the league for the next 5-10 years here. Irsay thought for the future of the shoe instead of the current. There's a lot of different ways to argue that, but the Eagles are going to be in the same situation. I'll tell you what, you can't get football diagnoses like what we're giving to you in many places.
No, you can't.
The conversation we're having right now about Wild Card Weekend and what you're about to have hear from us about the Golden Globes later is something you can't find on earth. And I take a lot of pride in that here. We take a lot of pride in these things, these thoughts, these opinions. But there is one place you can go to that has like certified legitimate opinions. A place that has collected some of the greatest minds and writers in the country and gathered them under one umbrella. Some of the Sports Illustrated articles writers, former Sports Illustrated writers, former national newspaper writers for sports, former big-time journalists have all come together and said, hey, we are now a collection of awesome sports journalism. That place is called The Athletic. Jay Glazer's involved there. Jay Glazer is connected with everybody. Michael Lombardi, ever heard of him? We've been talking about him a little bit. Lindsey Jones, Trent Dilfer. Huh?
Oh, Dilfer's dimes.
Have you heard about that? Trent Dilfer's a part of The Athletic.
Love it.
It's just like The Athletic started gobbling up all the writers, all of them. They're like, hey, listen, you write for us now. You remember when you used to write a little small time and only a small selection of people got to hear your great words and thoughts and opinions and the way you can tell a story in a magnificent manner like a maestro, like a Bob Ross painting a painting? You work for us now. And The Athletic has caused quite a dent in the entire journalistic setup because they're cheap. They're very cheap.
Oh, yeah.
A slew of new stories come out on a daily basis.
Yes, they do.
A slew, 650 to 700 news stories published every single week across all sports. Subscribe and be part of the future of sports journalism. Really intelligent analysis and deeper perspective about teams, league, and personalities. That's what The Athletic does.
You nailed it.
I would like to consider us here a pretty hilarious group of personalities and opinions.
Yep.
But if you're looking for that deep talk, that good talk, theathletic.com is the place to go to. Right now, if you go to theathletic.com/Pat, you get 40% off. So making it $2.99 a month. and is case sensitive for when they read that and tweet it, is what I was just told.
Okay.
So it's lowercase PAT.
Yep.
We should probably do that again.
Okay.
You get it. It's theathletic.com /lowercase PAT. It's all the smart people writing. It's like real stuff. I checked it out the other day. They gave me a free little peek-see. I felt like I learned more about the game of football in a brief 15, 20 minutes than I've ever learned in my life. Ty, stop laughing like that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you get it. Theathletic.com /lowercase PAT. Check it out. 40% off, $2.99 a month. Incredible journalism. By the way, that might be the greatest ad read I've ever done in my life.
It's up there.
Because I like theathletic.com /lowercase PAT.
Right.
Of course.
But I wasn't ready for that lowercase PAT there at the end. That's on me. Should have read that beforehand. Should have checked it out myself. 40% off. Would have loved that. Would have loved that. You know, the Action Network.
Yep.
Revolutionary app about the information and science behind gambling, basically.
I love it.
Right? It really is. It has articles about gambling. It has numbers about gambling, things you should know, things you shouldn't know. When you place your bets, they track them, and it's red dot city, green dot city. You don't actually place your bets there, but they can track everything you need in the gambling world, sports gambling world. It's a one-stop shop to make you a better gambler. I mean, it really is.
Yep.
They had me set up a prop contest over the weekend, Wild Card Weekend. And I was honored to do that, by the way. A little prop contest where you pick answers to things, and then if you get the most right, you win $1,000 for nothing, by the way. For participating in the contest, you win $1,000.
It's free.
If you got the most right, obviously. I did a little write-up about each of the individual little contest questions, and I was right about a few, by the way. I was right about a few. I was wrong about the fair catch one. One of the prop questions they had was over-under on the percentage of fair catches. And in my life, whenever I would go into playoff games, all I'm trying to do is get fair catches the entire time. Let's not let the returner break this game open.
Right.
There was a lot of big returns this weekend because there was a lot of long punts. And in my head, that's nowhere near what I'm thinking whenever I'm playing in a playoff game, because every single play can be the one that ends the game. So you don't want to do that on a punt team for sure. But in my head, this prop contest was awesome. I enjoyed it. The amount of yards that Janikowski kicked versus the amount of offensive yards. But it was just, the Action Network has become a really cool little partner in this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
They really have.
It was.
We all use it.
And we're going to, literally everybody, we're a bunch of degenerates.
True.
But we all use it because it makes you a smarter gambler. It makes you know what's going on and helps you keep track of what you got going on. The Action Network is literally a must-use during any season that you're gambling money on.
Absolutely.
It just makes you smarter. Invest in yourself. Get Action Network. And I believe we'll be doing more of these props contests to give away money if you got answers right. Hey, if you know nothing, just go in there and guess in these prop contests.
Not costing you
That's what I
anything.
did.
Yeah, you might end up winning. You never know. You might win $1,000, and you're also going to get much more intelligent when it comes to gambling. You can follow along with other people's picks. You can follow along with the Digsy to see what he's picking on the Action Network. You just search for him, find him, follow his picks. How about my picks? You can track my picks on there. If you want to see what I'm going with, I put my bets in late, by the way. I want you to know I put my bets in late. So right near game time, if you want to find me, see what I'm going for, it'll be up there close. And I only go with locks, by the way. We talked about this. I was hit or miss early. I was hit. And then New England Patriots lost to the Tennessee Titans in the regular season, and I lost on that money line bet pretty large. And from that point forward, I want to do a little bit of a spiral, trying to play catch up. And what did I learn? Is I only need to go for the locks. Only go for the locks. You can track my bets on the Action Network, my locks on the Action Network. Bro Bets has their own account on there. You can follow along on there, track their bets. It's the greatest place on earth for gamblers. Right now, go to www.actionnetwork.com/Pat and enter these prop contests. Learn yourself up a little bit about the gambling world and possibly win $1,000 with your big ass brain. Back to the conversation. The Eagles are going to be in the same situation as Irsay was, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. Because
see you later, Foles. Hang on to Carson Wentz. Easy
that's
decision.
insane to me. Though.
It's really not though. Think about
Can he
Foles.
stay healthy? Can he
think
stay
about
healthy?
Foles in the first part of this season when Wentz was down.
Wasn't great.
Was not great, and then comes in and says, "Hey, we got no other option. You're our guy. Go do your thing." And he's been fine in that. But I'm saying that's an easy decision from management.
Some guys heal from those knee injuries right away. You don't know with Wentz. Maybe it takes him a little bit longer to get back to right.
Yeah, Wentz didn't look good at all. That first game back was against the Colts too, and he looked terrible. Wentz, that is. So I mean, personally, I'd probably hang on to Foles. But what he has a Super Bowl MVP,
but they won't.
Wentz
be able
is a knee injury away from being
they
another
won't be
guy.
able to afford that though, right?
Hey, what if they go
he's
on a
cheap.
run right now and win the Super Bowl again with Nick Foles?
They might.
Don't care.
They're the hot team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, they've won, 5 in a row now?
Granted, 4 inches away from losing that game last night. So that's something we got to think about.
But the Bears were fucking good.
Yeah,
Great
in
football
Chicago.
Huge one.
Nick Foles goes on to win again. What do? People are eating horse shit again in the parades in the streets. People are rioting. They got the ski masks on. Meek Mill is not in jail this time. There's concerts happening. And they go, you know what, Nick Foles? We appreciate you, man, but you got to head out of town. I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, it all depends on how much Nick wants to play ball because you could sign him to a short-term deal for a lot of high money until Wentz's rookie deal is up, right?
What if Nick wants to retire after this, by the way? Before he came back, he went into Woods. He was going to retire.
Nagy was the one who brought him back.
Was he really?
In KC, yeah.
Nagy brought him back in Kansas City from the Woods when he was going to retire?
Yeah, I saw it last night in 2016. He said Nagy was the one who made him love football again.
And now Nick Foles knocks out Nagy?
Yeah.
No club dub because of Nick Foles? Matt Nagy's going to hate that decision.
Yeah.
Let the kid stay in the woods. Matt Nagy. Chicago's thinking that. You guys you blame Cody Parkey? You going to blame Matt Nagy?
I don't. He scored 6 points before that. You know what I'm saying? So it's
9.
like
Didn't he have 3?
he had 2. No, that's 6.
Hey,
the first
2
half.
field goals.
Hey, Carl's Barstool Carl's video is one of the most epic things I've seen on the internet in a long time. I know it's a lot of people probably see it as disgusting and shit like that, but as a human that enjoys people as their character, that video is one of the best things I've ever seen on the internet.
Supposedly, you stay at the stadium till like 2 a.m.
Such genuine anger. Like, that wasn't a fake anger.
No.
That was not a fake anger. That was a genuine anger from that guy. By the way, those types of people, those diehards, are what keep the NFL the NFL, by the way.
Yeah.
Those
Sports.
people, because fantasy football is taken away from those team diehards like that. That guy is a diehard Bears fan. It came through in there, and Cody Parkey just so happened to be on the other end of it. And I think Cody Parkey would even be like, yeah, that ball should have went through. It would have been nice.
Playoffs are a different animal. They're a
Complete.
different animal.
Everything's on prime time. Everything's escalated.
Did you see the video that they showed before he missed the kick? Like Parkey back in high school and college with all his YouTube videos, he'd see a pole in a parking lot and say, "Watch, I'll hit the pole."
Yeah, that's this new thing these kickers have gotten into.
I'll hit this pole. You know?
So I started seeing these videos start showing up in my. Anytime anybody kicks anything, it shows up in my timeline, right? Which I respect for the brand. I like it. I'm for it. But I started seeing a lot of these people, these kickers, training on these poles because they're like, you don't need an upright to train. This is a way to train without having an upright. Go to a baseball field, hit the pole. For me, I never did the pole drill once. I was always like, I would rather just see it go through. I always thought that. And there's a lot of camps that go like, okay, we're going to hit left upright this time. We're going to line up on the left upright, try to hit the ball. And I was a simpleton. I was like, no. I just want to see the ball go through. If you can give me some beat up balls too, so it goes further. Like, that's why I want the confidence. Like, I want to go into this thing 100% confident.
Hit with the wind.
Yeah.
Whole nine.
I would like the confidence going in. I like to see it in. And there's some people that are like the technicians of kicking that are like 1-step drill, 2-step drills. They always have people working on the upright and on those goddamn baseball poles. And I never understood it, but I think it's helped a lot of guys too. I shouldn't just blame that. But for me, it was that the irony of all those videos popping up of him just pinging it off the fucking pole. It's like, God damn.
You had your pole that you screwed around with. No, I don't mean it that way. But if you remember this, during practice, all right, they'd go 11 on 11 down at the other end.
The fucking guy.
And you'd come down at the other end and picture this now, right on the goal line, but as far left as you can go on the goal line, he would tee the ball up to make that field goal from that impossible angle.
Yeah.
The field goal now is like this.
Yeah.
Still going through.
Still going through. Not every time, though.
Tough kick.
It was a tough kick.
Tough kick. We were all eyes were on you while they were down there doing it.
The goal was to go through, not to hit the.
Yeah. You were trying to put it in. It would be like a yard.
Toughest angle
I'd be like
there.
a yard off. So it'd be like a tight little squeeze down there. There'd be side action on the side, like Gorman and like the PR guys.
Yeah, like, he ain't gonna hit that.
They were like, just
No chance.
$10.
No chance.
Yeah, it was. But I'm trying to put it through though. Still,
Right,
that's
right.
even in that situation where I'm lined up on the pole.
Yeah.
I did not want to see that thing hitting the fucking
Right.
pole. It just wasn't. I want to see it go in. I'm a simpleton, man. I'm a simple guy. I just want to see those jump shots fall. And I think they'll fall the next time.
I'd be that way too.
Whenever we play degenerate office golf, I just want to hit the target.
Dog.
Hey, by the way, we got a new game in this office, and it might ruin all of us.
Really?
It will. Oh, it will.
Not one of us.
Oh, wow.
What?
So Gorman is 1.
3.
So we have this office golf.
3, he says.
It's like target shooting, basically.
Yep.
With the 60-degree.
With a 60-degree wedge in an office from like 20, 30 yards away. 20 yards away.
With like half a golf ball.
With half a golf ball. Yeah, it's quite a degenerate game
No,
of
it's not
golf.
half a golf. It's,
it's
a,
a
it's a
golf
ball,
ball.
but
It's
it's
a
like
full ball.
it's not an actual golf ball.
But you get
So
it.
half
It's
a
a
golf
practice.
ball.
It's a practice golf.
Yeah.
Half golf ball.
A lot of money's being
The target
exchanged.
is the width of a cup, so it's holding in.
People are literally picturing half of a fucking ball.
I know.
Yeah,
It's a full ball. It's a
Can
practice
confirm
ball.
it's a full ball.
Yeah.
Practice golf ball is what it is.
There it is. Thank you.
We're getting ready for Pebble Beach, and the whole office has become degenerates.
That's right.
Got to work on the short game. Gorman has won 3 games. I've won 2.
You need a caddy, by the way, at Pebble Beach. Any thoughts? Any preliminary thoughts on a caddy?
You already threw your name in.
Well, I threw my name in there, but I'm saying if you could, you go around the nation. You got a wide web of friends. Who would you like on your bag at Pebble Beach?
I don't know.
It's a fun time, man. Fun 4 days. If you make the cut, it's 4. It is.
I have good small talk.
Easy decision.
AJ Hawk would be awesome.
No, it's AQ.
Vinny.
AQ.
Oh, it is probably a
Yeah.
shit.
He's a golfer.
He's a tank, too.
Oh, he's a golfer.
Yeah, he golfs a lot. He's a round guy, so you wouldn't think that. Michelin man.
Yeah.
AQ, huh?
He's a golfer.
He get you into Pebble Beach? Fucking guy.
Hey, that was everybody else's. I would be in. I'm excited for the whole thing there. If I get in there, it's going to be insane. But the amount of money that's going to be gambled in this office before we get there might make this place go broke.
Jesus.
A lot of losers in the room in that golf game.
Yeah, but Meraldo was so close today. He got hosed.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Thanks for
Frank.
reminding me, dude.
That was such a shame.
God, you're
You know who got hosed? Well, I guess it ended up not mattering. Well, did it?
What's that?
The fucking strip, ball down, ref blows it dead.
Oh, yeah.
Overturned.
Anthony Miller,
yeah.
Anthony Miller catch.
Did it end up working itself out or not?
No.
No, they had to do is call it an
They-
incomplete pass,
Yeah,
right?
they called it back.
It seemed like the right outcome, though. In
Give us the ball in the
Like
5.
that-
I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
Like technically, it was a fumble and the whistle was blown dead and no one went and picked it up. But
Two
take it
Eagles
back
players
to
near closest to the ball too,
Yeah, but they didn't fucking go get it.
because the
Yeah,
whistle had blown.
But he also he did catch that ball. So how are you not going to move? How are
Yeah.
you not going to move the ball forward when he caught it?
I was torn on this. I was very torn on
I was
this.
happy with the result.
Because I was very torn on it. I guess the rule book states that they did it right. I guess
Correct.
they said on the TV. They could have just added that in. by the
Obviously,
way.
they said that. Yeah.
But for me, the defense didn't go scoop that. When you're in a practice, scoop that is something that is preached heavy. Heavy. That guy makes an incredible play. If he just accidentally stumbles towards that ball and falls on it after thinking you made it, I think it's obviously a turnover. In my head, though, I think they should have gave the catch. I think they should have gave him the fucking catch. There was no turnover because nobody recovered.
Did you hear what they said? Like when they brought him to the booth, that Larry guy, whatever. He was like, "Are these refs making up rules right now?" And he was
said,
like,
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Al Michaels was joking.
But
He just didn't know what he
the
was
refs
talking
blew
about.
the call because
How?
if
'Cause
he
he
makes
caught
a
it.
catch, he took 3 steps. It's a catch. The ball gets ripped from his hands.
Them blowing
It's a
it.
fumble.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't blow a whistle when a fumble occurs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
blowing the call. That's just not them. That's just them.
That's been
seeing it
happening for a
differently.
while and predominantly this year. And I think what they should do is
Only this
just wait until there is a recovery, then you blow the whistle.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
year it was an incompletion. Last year,
So
that
you
was
got
Also-
to remember though, refs. I mean, not all refs, but you would think they would have a feel for how the players feel about something. Like if there's a possible scrum under a pile, I think refs read like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
there's a real
Yeah,
thing,"
yeah.
right? None of the single Bears players, right? It was Bears that broke it up.
Bears caught it.
Bears caught it.
Eagles players.
None of the Eagles players. Eagles broke it up, right?
Yeah,
yeah. And then he did the thing.
Yeah.
None of the Eagles players even attempted to run towards that ball, right? None of them even. The guy that did it even did the pass break, which, by the way, incredible play by that guy.
Yeah.
Just for future, that was an incredible play. But if any of them even turn to look like they're going to get the ball, I bet you that ref sits back. In my eyes,
everyone on the field acted like it was incomplete.
Everybody on the field,
and that's why it should be a catch though, because you punish the defense for not jumping on the ball
that's
after.
That would have made more sense than the incomplete pass.
In my head, I was like, I think that's a catch because, granted, he did fumble, but it wasn't. Nobody recovered it. Fumbles happen without recoveries all the time. I mean, that is that out of bounds or something like that. Like in my eyes, it's like, yeah, he definitely fumbled, for sure fumbled. But what happened all the way up until there that was legit was the catch. So that's what I think.
And he was the last one to have possession, so you give it back to the team who had possession last.
But but then there's also no full recovery happened. So did a fumble actually happen? So did that play even happen? And if you can't overturn it to a real play,
calling an incomplete pass means you're going to pretend that the catch never happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which seems to be the worst option if you're going to make something happen.
Just like I said earlier, these refs end up in these situations that you could never, ever think about. Just like the Eagles being in a situation, just like Jim Irsay being in a situation with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, there's no way you could ever think of these
things. Those refs make the call, but you got to understand, boys, we know this, right? It's New York. They're just there nodding their head. No. The ref has, once they make the call, it's done. Yeah. It's out of their hands.
Once it goes to review.
Well, basically what it is you go out in the other room. Your father and I are going to talk about this and about what, we'll have an answer for you.
But look at the window that we're talking about.
Right. But that's it. But it's all New York. It's not that they made their call, then they're done. Then they just go listen.
They have the rule book there in New York. They have all those TV screens.
So how are they
in New York.
not getting it right?
Well, they're saying, hey, we got to make
They got it right.
They dug through. You could tell that because they sent that over to the TV people to talk about.
They tweeted out the rule book last night.
So they had to find it.
So there was like something in there that covered what happened.
So there is a rule if it's a catch and a fumble and there's no conclusive recovery, it goes back to.
This is like those.
Because to me, that's like it goes out of bounds. All right, it goes back to the Bears.
Right. Exactly. I think it should have been a reception up until that point. That's it. Nobody recovered it, so it's just like a fumble out of bounds. This happens. It sucks that it happens. But I guess they have rules for different things. Think about having to draw up that rule, though.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens? All right, here, I have one for you. What happens if the guy catches it, they strip it, we rule it an incomplete pass, but nobody covers it up. Well, we got to make a clause for that, obviously. It just is an incompletion then. Like, how do they even get to those conversations in those owners?
That's a great question.
I think the best part, for what they decided, they're just trying to step away from the game, which is good.
No, but I'm saying, how do they even write that fucking rule? Like,
that's a big think tank.
That's a lot of layers to get to.
Same way we come up with ideas. There's like 6 of us sitting around, and then we just talk for 6 minutes until we get somewhere. We're like, oh, okay.
They're just shooting hoops.
They probably they literally, it's just what is the worst possible scenario if this were to happen. I think that's what land on.
Refs used to come in training camp, and you could ask them questions at practice and things like that. And Tom McMahon, special teams coordinator right now for the Broncos, I don't know what's going on.
Goodbye.
So his coaching tenure in Denver is
goodbye.
Dead, but
you get it.
I didn't want to go there just yet.
But he would draw up these things for these refs to have to answer. And it was like, how do you think of these things? And then lo and behold, one of them would pop up during the season, and then he'd be on the email thing like, you told me when I asked. That it was just, the game of football is so magical because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, when you think of what it's become, right? It used to be a $100 business, then $1,000 business, $1 million business. Now it's $1 billion business. You got to have every possible scenario laid out to cover all your bases there because all the gambling money on the line too.
So they did it last year. Remember Jesse James? Remember the TD, no TD?
Fucking remember. Yeah, we remember Gorms.
That was in playoffs, though. That was in playoffs.
I know, but then they started calling it differently from there. I mean, there wasn't a rule change. It just started calling.
So I said last year that play would have been an incompletion.
Yeah.
How do you feel, bub?
How do I feel?
About the AFC North.
Great.
Yeah.
I feel great.
I don't know what's going to happen there. The Golden Globes was last night, 2 nights ago, I guess, depending on when you're listening to this.
True.
So interesting because the Golden Globes is literally Hollywood talking to each other. They have no idea that the camera's even on, I don't think. Whenever they're doing the jokes, it's just for the room. Whenever they're giving their speeches, it's just for the room. And it's a nice little peek inside of how Hollywood feels about things. Very interesting to me. A Star is Born got no credit from anybody over there in Hollywood.
Pretty surprising.
Lady Gaga got some credit, too.
They got
the
the song.
best part.
I mean, Shallow, obviously a banger, won Best Song.
Oh, she didn't win Best Actress?
No, fucking Glenn did.
Oh.
Glenn.
By the way, Glenn's speech, though, two ends, Glenn, was a mesmerizing moment from the Golden Globes. A lot of them get very political, but the speech that Glenn gave seemed engaged and real, and it's probably because she thought Gaga was going to win.
Yeah.
So she didn't write it all down.
She should have. It's bullshit.
Yeah, they won best song. I know that for a fact, right? Shallow won best.
Yeah, but some other guy was talking for the award for that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he said
No respect.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Said that when you write for Lady Gaga, you're he
Oh, look at this guy.
So he's saying if you write for Lady Gaga, you automatically win.
No, what he said was like she was incredible with it. She took it and made it her own song, and blah, blah, blah. But he did all the speaking in that acceptance. It wasn't La Gaga. It was.
She was saving hers for later, but Glenn, out of
she'll be
nowhere.
for the
She
Oscars.
don't care
She'll be
about
there
a
for the
Golden Globe.
Oscars.
She wants an Oscar.
So Golden Globe means nothing to nobody.
Well,
The TV.
you don't want to say that,
I
but
think it's prestigious, but not as prestigious as the Oscars.
Yeah, it's normally the award show where everyone gets drunk.
Yeah, it's a
everyone's
frat
hammered.
party. The Oscars, that's a ball.
It was like
You know what I mean?
it was like the Rose Bowl this year. No one really cared.
But it's the first one. It's the
Yeah.
leadoff one. That's
Yeah, it's
what
like a
makes it
preseason game. It's a little preseason
To
game.
me, the Golden Globes is the biggest for TV people. For
Yeah.
shows that are on TV. It's
So
the
many
biggest.
shots fired at TV people, by the way. Movie people were close. TV people in the back, they had a whole Jim Carrey bit about it.
Superstars.
That's how it works.
Like to thank the foreign press. Everybody. You got to do that.
Well, yeah, if you don't, you'll never get another one.
That's right.
I do feel as if these people are getting awards for being creative. Creative individuals.
Creative.
You either acted, which is your art somehow. You wrote something, which is your art somehow. You have a imaginative brain somehow to be able to dive into these characters or write these movies or score it or make this laugh or that laugh. You have a creative gene in your body.
Cast it. Yeah.
They talked about it a couple times last night. Like, this is our art. This is how we do it. And the people that win the awards for being the most creative people in particular groups and genres get up there and give a speech. And every single one of them is the exact same goddamn speech.
Makes
with
no
no
sense.
creativity. No creativity. We don't need to thank 500 people. They fucking get it. Just tell a little story up there.
You're right.
Yeah.
Make me laugh.
Especially at the Globes like that. It's not stiff like the other ones. I mean, it's supposed to be loosey-goosey. They're throwing liquor around. I'm with you.
Hey, if you want to do a political thing, go ahead, cool. Let's just make it sound good. Let's not read it off a goddamn page. You're paid to memorize lines. What are we doing?
That's the weirdest part.
It is.
Yeah, you can't memorize. You can memorize what other people write for you, but you can't memorize
Well, they don't want to
something you
leave
write for
any,
your own.
They don't want to leave anybody out.
You may never win again. And that's going to be your forever moment at the Golden Globes
I would like to
as a
thank
winner.
Jim,
what I mean?
James, Jackie, Joe, Todd.
Yeah.
Not you in Indianapolis, Todd. Pittsburgh, Todd. Also Indianapolis, Todd. Ohio, Jill. Lighting
I
team.
think they should put an end credit scene behind them and then just have the names go.
That would be easier.
What does
That's
one
the
walk?
best way to do
You
it.
know how like college football teams have the signs for the plays?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Have
too.
somebody walk out right behind you with a captions almost. Thanks to these people, give a regular speech. Every photo has the people. Now, see, hey, look what we just did. We made it creative.
Yeah.
Which, if you're winning an award for being creative, you would think you would fucking do.
That's nice.
Here's my thing. A lot of these big stars do not have Twitters and things like that. I think they're afraid of the internet. They go out there and they put themselves out there and they try to do a creative speech. They're putting them out there to criticism from the internet.
Was it
When
this
they
weekend?
when they just read off names, they're fine.
Was it this weekend where Jason Witten called out Twitter? He said to Booger, he said, at the Pro Bowl, I'll go do defensive drills. You do tight end drills, and we'll let the Twitter people who like to talk so much decide. And I was like, oh, Jason Witten is acknowledging Twitter. That's a huge deal because I think Twitter has been quite a negative place for Jason Witten this year as he's been going through his learning
a little bit
bumps, we'll say, in the whole thing. And I don't know who told him how he found out, but he took a broad swipe at Twitter, and it seems like that probably is the Hollywood thing. Like, hey, this is just a terrible place. These people give these reviews on these IMDb things. It's a terrible place. These people tweet terrible things. That is probably
like, just read your thank yous, thank everyone, thank God, blah, 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 and get off the stage, and you'll be fine.
Just tell a story about when you were broke and an actor. I mean, anything. I'd like that.
Give me something from the heart. You know what I mean?
Well, I also think like a lot of them probably don't want to be there. Probably just want to go up there, mail it in, get it over with, and get back
I
in
can
the
see
seat.
that if you're Denzel.
Bro,
You're like, fuck
well,
another one.
You were in
know?
front of 30 million people. That's bigger
Yeah.
than any of the movies or shows that you're doing right now. This is a work event. That is a work event.
But that's exactly why they wouldn't do that, because they don't want to be those people at the work party after. Because they're going to that Golden Globes after party. You don't want to be part of that small group that won. That everyone's like, hey, fuck these people, huh? That you hear that guy's speech up there? He's a big
I thought you were
prick.
going to say you're going to be the guy at the work event who's
Hold
in the
on.
meeting asking questions. When you just shut the fuck up, we'll get out of here.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Oh, you're thinking everybody in the crowd's like, listen, we all know.
Like, just shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
we
Let's
get
this
it.
over with.
We're trying to go drink.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. If that is the entire crew of A-list and B-list and D-list and everybody's just like, listen, you win, keep it quick.
Yeah.
Because we're running past time. And when that music hits, we don't need you. Oh, that was something. A guy won.
One of the Farrelly brothers. Yeah.
And he told the music to stop.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he silenced the music. So turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to tell a story about how a musician was silenced.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony to me was just completely.
Was it on purpose? maybe?
Completely outrageous.
Oh yeah, he was dead serious.
He was telling a story about how racial injustice to this musician back in the day. It was an incredible story, by the way. But for me, the first 15 seconds of it was incredibly ironic because he was screaming at the music people to basically shut up. And then he led off with a story about how this musician was silenced. And I just lost it. I was like, oh. And I was obviously on some vitamins.
Yeah.
I was obviously on some vitamins. So I was like, whoa, that was crazy. And then I started listening to the story. I was like, oh, good story. I'm happy they stopped the music. I'm happy he got through that. But it was a wild scene. I love when they start playing that music. I love when they start playing that, hey, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, the reactions can be great.
The Hollywood Foreign Press are these very nice people, right? They all, the Foreign Press, the lady who spoke had this exactly how you think she would sound,
Yeah.
like super
Accent.
proper, just very proper. They take a lot of prestige,
Aye.
but they're a wine drunk too. Like they're not going to directly tell you to shut the fuck up, but they're going to do something in a roundabout way. And that music seemed to be louder this year than it normally is.
What's
Because
the next step, you think? They just put a trap door in the ground?
a fucking the hook.
Very nice.
The hook. I don't know. It was. I watched the whole thing. I thought Sandberg did well. I thought Sandra Oh did well.
Sandra Oh! Yeah, like her.
There it is.
From Grey's Anatomy.
Yep.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought she did well though. By the way, she obviously wasn't a stand-up comedian,
No.
but she did well. I thought.
Yeah, I think
Sandberg, good gimmick, good gig. I thought he did great. I've never seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, so good.
Should think about it. It's
Very
pretty funny. That's why,
enjoyable.
remember, it got canceled and now it got picked up again because people wanted it back.
So I was watching the commercial for it, and it was the one where he was drawing out what he thought the commercial should be.
Yep.
And he was like jumping on a helicopter, and then they show him in real life, and the guy's like, "No, that'd be way too expensive." Like I
I
legitimately
mean,
laughed.
you're a
at
Terry
that.
Crews guy, too.
I legitimately
Whoa.
laughed out loud at that. I was like, "Ah, that was funny." I did not see that going that way. I thought it was everything I thought it was. Whenever he was jumping on that thing, I was like, "Yeah, these motherfuckers like this corny ass pop star, Andy Samberg." Everybody in the office likes him. I seen that pop star movie. I'm like, this guy's terrible. And then that commercial happens. I'm like, people that I'm friends with like this show, And then all of a sudden, the cut at the end is him mocking it. I'm like, oh, he was just doing the same exact thing I was doing. I think I like this guy. And after that commercial, I was much easier and lighter on Sandberg.
Did you like him in SNL? Do you remember him?
I don't think so. I don't think I remember him much.
Because he did all the songs. Like, he was the music guy.
Oh yeah, Dick in a Box.
Yeah,
yeah.
Digital
Lonely
Shorts.
Island.
Yeah. I'm on a boat.
Did a lot of cool stuff with Timberlake.
I thought that was I thought that was really good stuff. But then that pop star, I thought he was just like he
His
ran
downfall.
his Saturday Night Live course. By the way, right? Saturday Night Live people do good, and then bad. That's what happens. Good. And then all their creative juices are almost used up or something like that.
Wasted.
Happens to everybody, and then they're gone. Seems like in my personal research, that is what happens.
I think he's really good in small doses. I don't think he can carry a movie or
I
be a
agree.
lead role or anything like that.
Well, I saw a pop star,
Yeah.
and you're right. That's very bad, but I'm excited for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If it was anything like last night, I thought he did a great job. I really did. I thought you're in a terrible spot hosting any of these award shows.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation.
can only mess
I
up.
think.
Tiptoe.
You're a holder for a kicker.
You got to be very, very good if you want to get any praise at all.
You're a holder.
You are.
That's exactly what you can only fuck it up.
Well, and you're never going to get any praise because something that happens during the show is going to outshine whatever you do, whether it's positive or negative. So
Unless you're Seinfeld, though, or something like that. Like, big name.
I think he'd get killed if he did it.
He wouldn't want to do that.
He would never do
That's
that.
what I'm
Never.
saying. He wouldn't, but I think
Well, that
if he
type of
did,
name, huge
like, in
in
this
their-
day and age, I think he'd get killed on Twitter.
I just don't. it's not like somebody's going to have to do it because Kevin Hart. And by the way, Kevin Hart, Ellen DeGeneres now, the LGBTQ community going against Ellen and Kevin Hart now, and the Oscars. I'm excited to see how that works out, but whoever hosts that is in a terrible position. That person has no shot. They are an NFL ref. There is nobody pulling for them. Whoever's signing up for that has no shot, unless it's somebody like Ellen, who is, well, before this situation, was universally loved. I think that's the only person that goes.
I love someone like Ellen. They might actually give some creative control to.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kimmel does it again.
You're an Andy Samberg or somebody like that. You have no
Kimmel?
say.
Yeah,
I wish they'd have to.
I wish they would bring
he's
back,
just it's on ABC. He's the quick fill-in. It's just like whatever. We know this guy can control the show and do it. Like who gives a shit? Let's just get him up there, get it over.
But does
with.
Kimmel want to do it? Kimmel knows that whoever goes up there, the Kevin Hart fanhood,
hate him.
That whole evening is going to be a interesting one. Now, granted, this is just the internet, so if these people don't ever read the internet, which is possible, it's not a big deal at all. We'll just live to see another day. See you tomorrow.
Did I remember really enjoying Ricky Gervais?
Oh yeah,
you may have, but a lot of people did not. Like I liked it.
We would have all, if you didn't see it, everybody in this room would have loved what Ricky Gervais said.
Hold on, now.
Yeah, I did. That's right.
So
I remembered that.
The thing about that is exactly what I just said, though, at the beginning of this whole thing. They're doing that show for the people in the room. That is a show for Hollywood.
Yes.
They don't really care about the outside the room.
Right. Yeah.
And we're just getting a glimpse to look in on how they do their like balls and shit. Ricky Gervais was the complete opposite. He was doing the show for the people at home.
Yep.
He didn't care about anybody in the room. But great moments in that. Great moments in that. But there's no way they ever bring him back.
That's a shame.
How about Timberlake?
Someone like that could do it.
He crushes the ESPYs too.
Someone who's loved by everyone.
Dance.
Back in the day, Billy
sing.
Crystal and Robin Williams, man, when they would do it, like it was fucking.
You have to be universally
unreal.
loved.
Did Rob Riggle do one recently or no?
Did
Not the
ESPYs,
Oscars.
I
He
think.
did the ESPYs.
I thought
Okay.
Drake did well with the
I watched
ESPYs.
Drake if he did the Oscars this year.
Yeah, but the Drake will never host the Oscars. Like the people who are running that, they are never going to let that happen. It's just old ass white dudes, which is why it's Billy Crystal.
about Steve
and shit
Carell?
like that all the time. He'd be all right.
Universally loved.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He'd been in some seriously good movies as of late that have been up for Oscars too.
Steve Carell, I think, could go in there.
Good pull, Frank.
Because the
Well, I
office,
saw him last night. He looked distinguished. He had the beard.
Yeah,
He
he's
looked
very
good.
distinguished.
Little gray.
he had a funny moment in the middle of that where he wasn't supposed to have, and you could tell that he was having a funny moment. I think he said something that came out the wrong way, and you like saw his face like gather himself, and then he continued to talk because he did the Carol Burnett introduction. I think Steve Carell is a possible answer.
Yeah, it might be you might have hit that on the
But he
head
may
right
not
there.
want to do it either.
It's a tough spot.
That's the thing. I mean, why would you want to?
That's a tough spot. You're pissing off whoever.
Yeah.
Especially if you're already very famous like that.
Right.
I mean, what do you have to gain?
Yeah. I think it makes sense for the two people like did it last night. That makes sense for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not at a gigantic level.
massive,
Tina
yeah.
Fey and Amy Poehler, we used to be fucking great at the Globes.
Oh, they were
Very
awesome.
much.
That's true. I forgot about that.
The Golden Globes, though, you guys are telling me mean nothing. The Oscars are all that matter.
They're a warm
I
up.
wouldn't say they mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of times what happens at the Globes kind of forecasts what could happen at the Oscars.
I'll tell you what, I never thought I'd watch that whole thing. I did. I'm kind of embarrassed, but I'm excited for us to take one over one day. Let's hope that happens. Thank you so much for everybody that listened. Hope you have an incredible Tuesday here, rest of your day. Heartland Radio 2.0 is back tomorrow. Huge thanks to Shawne Merriman, Matt Hasselbeck, and the boys here. Incredible. Thank you, guys. On Thursday, we got Quentin Nelson, the juggernaut, all-pro, rookie offensive lineman for the Colts, and T.Y. Hilton.
Oh, let's go. Nice pull.
Let's go.
Both of those, not big talkers. Not big talkers. I'll be excited to see. I think we're going to get good stuff out of them.
Yeah, you'll get out of it.
By the way, not just Colts fans are going to enjoy this Quentin Nelson kid, by the way. He might be the best offensive lineman to ever come into the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
There are not many rookies who are first team All Pro.
Joe Thomas, right? Probably the last guy.
Good company.
He's pretty damn
during
good.
the draft, I mean, they said he was going to be the best.
Yeah.
He's going to be an
He was a
all-pro
he was a
for the
gold
next
jacket.
10 years.
This guy's the guy. Might be the greatest offensive lineman in history. Excited for that conversation with him, knowing that he could maul me at any moment. T.Y. Hilton wore the clown mask. He's doing big things. He doesn't get a lot of national notoriety either. I can't wait to talk to him. I might have a special surprise guest as well.
Ooh, got a hint? Got a hint? Got a hint? Throw something out there?
Special surprise.
There it is. There's your fucking hint.
Last night, Sam and I were in bed with Val in between us. And Sam she actually just chose to, on Sunday, out of nowhere, with zero preparation, do a 7.5 mile hike.
Wow.
Because the weather was nice.
Nice.
Was nice. Great
was.
day.
January, good weather. Wild card weekend, I'll be watching games. Her and a couple of her friends go on a 7.5 fucking mile hike. That's more than a quarter of a marathon.
Go to another town. You end up in another town when you walk 7.5 miles.
Legit.
Yeah.
Whole new county.
Yeah.
I think there's we talked to a business owner who has a non-compete that's 7 miles.
Right. She walked it.
7.5 miles. But she chose to take Val with her.
Oh no.
So she's getting in the car. She's getting in the car with Val to go to this hiking thing. And I go, yeah, what did Val do?
Right.
Hey, why is Val? And she's like, oh, she's my hiking partner. I'm like, 7.5 miles. Val hasn't run from one side of our house to the other in probably 6 months. Like
Val's fully informed of what's going on here.
Val's excited to leave the house. She thinks we're going to watch football. Mom puts her in the seat, and she's excited, and she knows the way down to this office. So, Val, as soon as I'm turning off the highway, she starts standing. She knows. I would have liked to be there whenever she drives right past the exit to come here, go to the hiking thing, and Val just looking over there like, where the fuck are we going?
Just like a rut row.
Where are we going?
Starts getting water bottles strapped to the back of her. What the hell's going on here?
Backpack.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, welcome. You are now a donkey for this mountain. No, Val walks the whole thing. And I guess the last half a mile, it was like she was being dragged, right? I guess Val was being dragged. Sam had to pick her up into the car afterwards, like just a bag of bones. And Sam sends me a picture in the car ride home, and Val's just staring at the camera like, I don't know why the fuck. So she gets all the way home, and Val's laying in between. I had to lift her up onto the bed, by the way. She couldn't even get up on the bed. Lift her up on the bed, and she dragged herself like an army drag in between us, and then she just laid her head down on my chest, and I was petting her like, hey, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then I look over at Sam, and Sam's like, is there any way you can go get me a water? I can't walk. So now I got Val, who can't move. This dog literally can't move. Sam can't move. Her entire body is sore. I go get her water. We come back. She passes out shortly thereafter. Val's sleeping there, and I'm watching the Golden Globes. And I'm looking over. And Val's tucked in underneath us. I'm like, this is going to be a child one day. This is going to be a human one day right here.
Dogs will do that to you.
And that spun me into probably a 2.5, 3 hour conversation with myself. Just staring at the ceiling. Like, what happens if I produce a fucking serial killer?
You love that serial killer. Yeah.
You have to be a good parent. When you have a kid, you have to be a good parent because Dahmer could happen. Dahmer had terrible parents. Dahmer happened. So then I started thinking, how am I going to be able to? I got things I want to do with my life.
Correct.
So I had almost had a panic attack. And I am not somebody who gets anxiety in any situation, by the way, any of them. You throw them in there for me, it's like, okay, I'll just make a story out of this. If this goes bad, we'll be okay. Anything good's going to happen. Last night, after the Golden Globes ended, I almost had a goddamn heart attack. I was thinking about my child and how terrible of a parent I'll probably be. And then it ended with me going, a lot of terrible people are parents. I'll probably figure it out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I swigged NyQuil, drugged myself to sleep basically, and cuddled Val, and just woke up this morning hopefully I never have a kid. So it was a full range of emotions.
See, that shows me that you're going to be fine.
Anyways, #Endgang, #Endgame. Send us something hilarious. Let's have an incredible week. Cheers. You guys are the best. Ty Schmidt, hit the music.